Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Corona Spotlight 2020. I am your host, Gayle Nicholson, metaphysicist and resilience coach, and today my guest is going to be Annette Whittenberger. I really like Annette a lot. She's got a lot going for her as far as her website, her blog, her podcast, and the power of connecting with people that have the same similar stories to our own, and just having a safe space to share that, whatever the case may be, whatever kind of trauma may have left you feeling powerless, in a safe space so that you can share it and it's not so heavily on yourself. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Annette Whittenberger. Hi, Annette. Thanks for joining
Hi.
us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. This is very exciting.
I'm very excited to have you. So, let me give everybody a little bit of background, like we were talking about just before the show. Um, you were in the Army for 17 years before you
Yes.
retired. And after you got out, what was life for you?
Before I got out, it was something that I just got used to. You know, when you spend that much time in the army, it's becomes your identity almost. It's like that's just who you are. So when you leave, you almost feel like you've lost that. Like who am I now? I'm not just I'm not Major Wittenberger. I'm now Annette Wittenberger, and it was different. It really was. So um, I loved it. There were hard times, of course, but there was also very memorable times that I'll always have take with me.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Um, you and I were talking about the fact, though, that when you feel that loss of identity after you go from one context of life to a totally different context of life, there can be some floundering around, some sadness, some grieving for the life that was before, some depression, even. And something great was created out of your depression. What was that?
So I created a blog to, in the beginning, it was just for me to express my feelings, and I'd never really intended for it to get out to the public. It was just a way. I didn't know any other way. So that's where I put all my time and effort. And after speaking to other soldiers or other peers that had gotten out and were feeling that sense of loss, I started to realize I'm not alone. Like I'm not the only one feeling all this. And so that's when I decided to press publish, and everybody found out. It was terrifying, but I didn't want to live in that shame anymore. I didn't want to not be able to express my feelings because this is real and it could have ended my life.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that a lot of people don't necessarily realize that keeping that pain inside, and not letting it come out, not sharing it with others that can receive it without making it, a drama about themselves or whatever that may end up over there, right? But without having that
Right.
space, the pressure builds, and it goes deep. We'll put it that way. It
Right.
goes very deep. And at some points, there seems like there's no way out of it. There's no way to feel better. Is that, I mean, that's been my experience with depression. For me, for me, my depression seems to be based in anger. When I turn anger inward towards myself, and there's nobody to share that with, there's nobody that can help me with it. I have to deal with it all alone, and then it gets very dark.
Right.
And what's your is your experience with depression like that, or was it like that? Um, or because I know that there's different kinds. There's some people that are just strictly dealing with a chemical imbalance, and if they can get the right chemical cocktail in balance, then they're great. And then some of us are more like we can get out of it through exercise. your best way to get out of it was through sharing it and pushing publish on that blog. Now, what occurred after that when the community started to rise up around your blog?
Well, I'll go back for just a second with your question on depression. You're absolutely correct on being in that dark place, and no one can help you get out of it because you've already convinced yourself that no one else will understand. And even sometimes, even if it's a chemical imbalance and you take that certain cocktail, sometimes that doesn't work either. So, for some people, you can't just go outside and exercise because you can't even get yourself out of the house. So it's very difficult. Um, Once I decided to start sharing my story and speaking to other people about it and being just so vulnerable and open to the public, I it was like my own self healing journey because I knew that there were other people who were feeling the same, and I just felt like it was my this is why I was kept here because there was a few times that I probably shouldn't have been here.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this was my mission that I'm here for a reason, and sharing my story to help others get through theirs is what keeps me going. So not every day is a great day. There are days where I just Netflix is a blessing and a curse, but then there's days where I have a phone call set up already, or a friend calls and she wants to chat, and everything changes because you need to connect with others that understand, because not everybody understands and it's hard.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Absolutely correct. So tell me a little bit more about. I mean, we've touched on it with this blog idea, but what exactly is what you call a wild ride called life? Because it's more than just a blog now, right?
yes. Yeah, absolutely. The name came to me one day. I don't even know. It just popped in my head, and that was it. I said that's it. That's what life is for me, at least. And then when I've connected with other people, they say the same. It's a wild ride. There's bumps, there's ups and downs, and it's a journey. And I think that's what it is with everything now. And it's not just mental health, it's just with being a parent or just being a human. I mean, there's no book out there that can tell you exactly how to deal with each situation. It's just everything's different, and it's all about how you look at things now, especially during this time. It's
Mm-hmm.
about your mindset. Are you going to wake up and say this day sucks, or are you going to wake up and say, you know what, let me focus on one thing. I'm going to get up today and I'm just going to go outside, or I'm going to put on some music. For me, music is like everything. So
Mm-hmm. Same here.
I guess it just depends, and it is about your outlook. And so I really believe that the people that you surround yourself with can make a huge impact. If you connect with people that are like-minded and like-hearted, it changes it changes everything,
Yeah.
because you're surrounded in that positivity, or you're surrounded in people who are willing to listen, because sometimes that's all we need is someone to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. It is true. And even especially now when,
Yes.
people may be living alone or maybe they're living with somebody that they're a roomie and they don't really give a damn about,
Right.
what's going on inside your head or whatever. It becomes even more important to have these tools like Zoom, like podcasts, like blogs, where you can reach out and connect with someone who has a similar challenge, who can identify, who can relate. Um,
Right.
there's no surprise that the suicide hotline has gotten very, very busy lately.
Right.
So, why do you, I mean, what drives you to share this, right? Like, your message, why do you share it? Why do you go out there and provide a space for others instead of just focusing on your own needs?
I think what really hit me was when I received the very first message I received through, I believe it was Instagram, a stranger who told me out of the blue, I've never met you, but I had to tell you that I look forward to your posts every day because I resonate with it so much, and it's saved me. And that hit me right in the heart because people are watching, whether you're not getting your likes or you're not getting your comments, or you're not getting all that feedback. People are always watching, and they're always listening, and they're always reading. And so you don't know what someone may need to hear that day. And although I'm real on my posts, I don't always put happy things. Some days I put real hard truths in because it's real life. And so when I get messages like that through now Instagram, or or Facebook or my website, I know that I know that there's someone out there that needs to hear it. And so that's what drives me, because I used to be really shy.
Hmm.
My family does not, they're not very public. I'm the only one that's very public. They like to keep their business, and I respect that. But for some reason, I have kept going and sharing this because I know that it's helping somebody. And even when I see someone else's post that day and they say something, I comment and say, "Yes, thank you for putting this today. I so needed to hear it." Because
Yeah.
I want them to know that I am grateful for them being open and honest about it. Because I think we need that. We need to, if we're going to post, I think sometimes we just need to be real and honest. It's not always happy.
Yeah.
And I think people appreciate that. So
I
that's
agree.
why I do it, because I know someone out there needs to see it.
I agree with you. Very much so. I think that we do need to start talking about it because it's those things that we don't discuss, those things that stigmatize stuff. I mean, especially like in the realm of mental health. I have an aunt who is, well, she's long gone now, but she was institutionalized for hysteria.
Mm.
Do you know what that means?
Yes and no.
It means that she had PMS and didn't shut up about it, so they locked her up in a hospital. That's
Wow.
what that's and if you had an elder in your family that was going dementia or whatever, you'd lock grandma in the attic,
Mm.
and the kids would take food up to her, but she wasn't seen
Right.
in public. That's where
Mm.
all this stigma comes from, all these hidden normal mental illnesses or deficiencies or wounds that weren't publicly and socially acceptable, that needed to be kept on the down low and on the hush hush. Well,
Right.
here's the thing, our society is much more open and communicative now.
Mm.
We're seeing the evidence of this stuff, and it's not a character um, problem. It's an actual health problem, and we need to be
Right.
addressing it as such, right?
Right.
For the longest time, now these my opinions, and I could be classified crazy myself, but um, we could do so much better by our people by talking and connecting. For a
Right.
long time, the medical industry has looked at the body and mind, and reluctantly the mind, and never the spirit. And I think after 100, 150 years of us only focusing on the health of one or two parts of a three-part being,
Mm-hmm.
right? That we're starting to understand that connection, that the spirit part of it isn't necessarily religion. It's the part that connects between the two of us. And when we're not able to connect with the other human beings around us, that spirit part gets weakened.
Mhm.
Would you agree with that, or am I just like off off on a nut?
No, no, I mean, I do. It's just we spent too long trying to hide things. And I mean, that's how I was raised. We didn't talk about our feelings. We just, unless you were bleeding or you broke a bone, you don't say anything. And then even the way I was raised in the military, I didn't say anything either because I didn't want to be seen as weak. I didn't want to lose my clearance. I didn't want to be moved to another unit. Whatever the case is, I didn't say anything for way too long. And so that's why I think now I'm so passionate about saying something because it's like I can't hide this anymore. And there's nothing wrong with me. I, I'm going through some things and I don't want other people to feel like they can't say anything about it. It's okay to not be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I have turned my mess into my message because I need people to hear it that it's okay.
Yeah.
I even teach my own kids this now because, you know, both of them being military brats, I can imagine how difficult it is for them because their parents are so strict. But we've had to flip things a little bit and say, you know what, it's okay. If you're mad, say you're mad. Voice, talk it out. Don't turn it into rage, anger, because that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
If someone were to ask me what was wrong, I'd be like, nothing, I'm fine, and then I'd be this raging person that no one wanted to be around.
Yeah, it comes out
and
sideways, doesn't it? If
it,
you
it,
you push it down and it comes out sideways.
it just, and people, my kids were like, what is wrong with mom? And I don't want them to feel like that anymore. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's, yeah, we spent way too long hiding and putting people away. Well, did you talk to them? Do you know what's wrong? Have you asked them? Because then you feel like suicide is the only way out because no one gets it. They don't understand it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so disheartening. And
Yeah. And
yeah,
don't you find that it's easier to touch anger than it is to touch sadness?
yeah,
Yeah. It's strangely enough, it's safer to be angry than it is to be sad.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you say you're angry, it's like, oh, okay, okay. But if you're sad, it's like, wait a minute, what's going on? What's wrong?
Yeah.
It's such a touchy subject, so it's just, yeah,
Yeah.
it's difficult.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. So, are you working on any other projects right now besides the let's see, the blog is a wild ride called Life, correct? And then you've also
Yeah.
got a podcast that came out of this called The Truths We Hide.
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I actually originally started a podcast 3.5 years ago, but I did 4 episodes and it was just me and it was really sad. And so I stopped it because I said, I can't listen to myself. This is sad. And it's just so sad. So I stopped it and I ended up, I was in the middle of moving, so I moved here and in October I said, you know what? I'm going to start a podcast. I don't know why, I don't know how, but it's gonna happen. I'm gonna do it tomorrow. And I came up with the truths we hide because it was just from my own thing. I had a lot of truths that I was hiding. And I know that from talking to other people, there are things too that they're not ready to share yet
Mm-hmm.
because they're afraid. And so I started it, and again, it was going to just be a few of me talking, but then I said, you know what? No, there's so many more people out there that want to say something. And so surprisingly, I had quite a few people say, I'll do it. I was like, really? Okay. And so they came on and they start talking about their own journey of coming back from a deployment and admitting that they had to ask for help,
Mm-hmm.
or alcoholism or homelessness or whatever the case is. I've wanted to create a space for people to be able to share their stories and how they overcame them. And I've had great feedback from listeners saying, I heard this one with so and so, and wow, it was I totally resonated with it. So I'm happy. as to where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised because it is hard, but yeah. So the truth we hide.
Now, where can people hear that podcast? Are you on iTunes? Are you on Podbean? What do you want?
On all of them, anywhere you can hear a podcast, it's on there. So it's very exciting.
Sweet. Very
Yes.
cool. Very, very cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
My book will be published
Yes.
for real this time. It's going to happen. It's been a work in progress for about 3 years.
Uh huh.
There were times where I was scared because it talks a lot about a lot of stuff that I just now felt comfortable saying out loud. But yes, the book will be published, and I really find myself being on a stage somewhere. I do.
Awesome.
So that's my goal.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I see that for you too. I definitely see that as a real possibility for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I know that you also do individual private coaching, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So, if reaching out to the podcast doesn't seem like enough, or reading the blog doesn't seem like enough, I encourage those of you who are listening to reach out to Annette for a private one-on-one. You can see on the ticker below us. You can reach out to her at a wild ride called life at gmail.com. Her phone number is also available there. And in the meantime, regardless, go check out her website at a wildridecalledlife.com. Lots of good resources there. And definitely stuff to look at and to read up on. Tell us a little bit more about what you've got over there on your website, Annette.
I have all the stories. The my recent interviews. You can find the podcast on there to submit a form to be a guest on there. I have a bunch of affiliate links. I really love supporting small businesses. So if you ever want to be on the website for me to help support you, I'd love for you to come over. Um, yeah, I mean, you can read everything on there. So, and the coaching, of course, you can go on there as well to set up a consult.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Excellent. Let's see. Anything else that you want to discuss about today? We've got some pretty interesting stuff going on right now with coronavirus. Um, so how is that impacting you? How are you doing with all that?
I'm not gonna lie. Some days are harder than others.
Mm-hmm.
Some days I have convinced myself, well, nothing's open, so I don't really need to leave the house. So I'll just sit here. Um, I am the gopher to get groceries because my mom's here and I don't, she doesn't need to go out. Neither does my son. So I go do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to keep motivated each day. It's just something small. I have so many books I need to read. So I try to pick one,
Mm-hmm.
read a few chapters, set up a call with somebody, call your friend, check on them because that's, sometimes that's what they need. Um, and the podcast is keeping me busy and I just love communicating with other people, so I try to find something in each day, especially with the weather here in Virginia. It's amazing, so I'm really blessed to have that. And yeah, I just say wake up and you got to get your mindset right. You have to pick one thing that's going to get you through that day. Pick something happy. It's nice outside. I'm just going to sit out there. Just sit out there and drink your coffee or tea.
Yeah.
Just sit there. Just get the get the air on your face or feel the sun or something, and um
100%. 100%. I think people are starting to finally realize, oh my gosh, this is what I'm missing. I'm missing the time to sit here in the sunshine and have my coffee.
yes.
I'm missing the
Yep.
time to just enjoy having the cat on my lap for a while,
Yeah.
Uh,
It's true. We're so busy and rush each day. Now you can actually enjoy it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Um, Jeez. Have you been watching anything on Netflix or anything like that? Have you been binging anything?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Little fires everywhere with Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington.
I will
I love it.
definitely have to look into that one. I like Reese Witherspoon a lot.
Me too.
Yeah, she's a little firecracker. I like her. Well, very
Yes.
cool. Alrighty. Well, do you have any final thoughts for the people that are listening today, um, or anything that you'd like to leave them with?
I really want people, like I said earlier, it really is okay to not be okay. Stop being so hard on yourself, but like you have to be perfect each day or happy each day. I would just communicate with your family. Look, today is just not, I'm not feeling it. Can you help me out? Because if we hold that in, we get snappy, and we get mean, and we get rude. Because that was me. That's all me. So it is. It's okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Annette. Take
Thank
care
you so
and
much.
absolutely have a great week, Facebook. When you open yourself up to actual energy work, makes that recovery progress so much faster. That recovery is possible. You do not have to live as a victim until your last days. You have unbelievable strength, and I know that because you're still here. Do you want to create something completely unrecognizable with your life? I can show you how. Okay, we're out. Good.
Okay.
I can breathe again. I've been using this new software called Restream to
Oh,
stream from Zoom to Facebook Live and to YouTube at the same time.
oh,
Yeah, so
wow.
I set it up, and then the first couple of times that I did it, it would send it out on YouTube under my testing Restream title.
Oh
I'm like, no!
no.
So I'm still learning exactly, what I need to do and what do I need to do, and is it going to continue streaming even if I shut this off? And yeah, so.
Oh my gosh.
But this was really great, and you got an awful lot of feedback in the comments while we were on.
Oh my
You did. You
gosh.
had like 11 people watching at one time. That's not, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot on Facebook Live.
No, that is a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, so good job, really good job. Now
Yay,
I'm gonna
thank
go
you.
convert this. I'm gonna upload it onto YouTube, and then I'm gonna send you that link. Now I have also been, after that's uploaded onto YouTube, I send that back out again to Facebook and to Twitter, and it goes out as a premiere, so it goes into the main YouTube ocean of,
Okay.
somebody clicks on and goes, I want to see what's going live right now. Boom, it's that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so lots of exposure there. Excellent. And then, would you like to have a conversation about what we can do for repurposing this?
I think we did talk about that last time,
A
no?
little
I
bit,
think
didn't
so.
we?
Yeah.
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 So I'll send you over an email that's got the menu of services.
Okay.
The only things that I really want to point out is that you'll see the 30 to 30 commercial conversion, converting the 30 minutes into a 30-second commercial,
Hmm.
is color coded with 2 add-ons. If you're not doing the commercial conversion, the add-ons aren't available. That we don't do
Okay.
them as standalones.
Okay.
Okay, the
Hmm.
ebook can be done as a standalone. So you'll see what I'm talking about when you get in there and read the letter.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Awesome. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye
Bye.
bye. Till your last days, you have unbelievable strength, and I know that because you're still here. Do you want to create something completely unrecognizable with your life? I can show you how.